And we're recording. Okay, here we go, fifth period again. Talking about arc length and sector area. They're a little bit talky right now. So, we're on 7.3, the Go problems, finding the lengths of arcs. So this one is all about the arcs. I'll show you another demo in another class about the sector area. But the fact remains the proportions are the same. So the concept of the proportions is always going to be the arc length over the circumference. So that's a linear distance over a linear distance. Remember, circumference is all the way around. You always find that out by putting the angle you're concerned about over 360. And then cross multiply and solve. It never fails. You might have to do some extra figuring and extra word problem stuff, but this never fails. So let's look at this. These are both diameters, and it says they're perpendicular to each other. So what kind of angles do we have right here? They're all right angles, right? So all of these are 90 degrees. So if I want to find the distance to walk along the arc from N to Q, so I start here, walk along the arc, and I end right there. So what is the angle I'm walking around the circle? 90. I'm walking 90 degrees. So we're going to use this proportion to find arc length. That's what I'm trying to find, so that's my variable. So arc length over, this is, you always say circumference. So 2 pi, wait a second. What's the radius of this circle? It's listed. So it's 2 pi times 6. Remember, one of the theorems, as a matter of fact, I think it was Hannah. I had her write it down on the notes. Do you guys remember one of the theorems? What was the theorem we can say about radii? Does anybody remember? What can I say about all radii?
All radii of a circle are congruent.
That's right. It's right there. All radii of a circle are congruent. So if this segment is 6, what can I say about these 3 segments? They're always 6. So any radius will do because they're all congruent. Now, this equals, what's the angle we're concerned about? 90 degrees, and it's always over 360. Now, how do you solve a proportion? Cross multiply is correct. So just write it out. 360 times x equals 90 times 2 pi times 6. So we're trying to find x, right? So we divide by 360. Okay, I'm not going to figure out the answer all the way. You guys at home or later on can figure out with your calculator all those buttons. It's irrelevant, but you guys all understand the setup. Yeah? Any questions on number 16? Okay. Let's say find the area inside one of the 4 sectors. It's the same type of proportion. Let's do this in a different color. Sector area is also the same type of proportion, and I put this on your outline. Area over pi r squared, the area of a circle, equals the angle over 360. So let's do the same thing. If I want to find the area of this sector, so that's the part, the variable I'm looking for. Let's use a different letter. Y divided by what goes right here? Somebody say pi r squared. Pi r squared, the area of the circle. So pi times, what's 6 squared? 36. And that equals the angle, again, 90 degrees over 360. Again, how do you solve a proportion, boys and girls? Somebody say cross multiply. Cross multiply. Very good. So 360 times y equals 90 times pi times 36. And again, divide by 360. You guys can plug that into your calculator offline or after you watch the video to find those answers. But all this video was for was to show you the setup for arc length or for sector area and how similar they are.